feel less safe around my Jewish friends who have...
I was raised by the oldest, angriest Jewish woman alive. And her entire extended family was exterminated in the Holocaust. And that was my great-grandmother. She made it out in time, but her family didn't. And it's for that reason that to this day, we still don't know the names of some of them. We don't know if we still have existing family in Europe. We don't know. And we'll never know. And one of the things that she always told me is that she never supported the state of Israel because how could you take what was done to the people in the Holocaust? How could you take what was done to them, knowing it was done to you, to your people? How could you do that to someone else? And that's what the state of Israel is doing. That's what the Zionists are doing. They have taken what was inflicted on the Jewish people as a whole, and they're now doing that to someone else. They ran so hard from the Nazis that they became the fucking Nazis. And that's a really unpopular thing to say, as a woman who was raised Jewish. Now, I've had my own issues. I don't personally believe in the faith of Judaism anymore, but those are my people. That's my whole family. And to have to openly come out and say specifically that I am condemning the actions of my Jewish friends, my Jewish family, because how, as a human being with a soul in your body and a heart in your chest, how can you say, I want to bomb babies and still think that you're the good guys? Jewish people have been living in exile for a very long time. And I understand the idea of wanting a homeland to go back to. But here's the thing. Look at how many people, how many Israelis are all white Europeans. That's not your homeland. You stole that. You're a colonizer. You pushed out thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people from their homes, and now you're bombing them because they want it back? You're murderers. And I just don't understand why this is a difficult concept for people. Like, I think it was Bernie Sanders who said that it's not anti-Semitic to be critical of a right-wing government in the state of Israel. And he's right. It's not Judaism, it's nationalism. And everything in Gaza, that's an extermination camp. That is literally a death camp. People can't come in, they can't come out, they're bombing them. They have specifically been bombing ambulances and the Red Crescent, which is their form of the Red Cross. And that's just to add to their war crimes. To bomb babies, to bomb hospitals and medical staff. And now I'm in school, and I'm an Arabic studies and Middle Eastern studies major. I am the only non-Muslim student in my class. I'm not the only white student, but I am the only non-Muslim currently in any of my classes. And having to reassure them and reassure my Arabic-speaking Muslim professors that I know I've been open about having Jewish family, but I'm very much anti-Zionist. Because there's something my great-grandmother had told me before she passed. She died when I was very little. Something she said that I will always remember, which is how could you take what happened to us and inflict that on more of God's children? And something else that she had told me was that the Jewish people and the Muslim people worship the same God. We're cousins. We're cousins separated by centuries. So that's our family. Those are our brothers, our cousins, our children. How could you do that? I feel like we're getting to a point in the US, especially where I'm at. I'm in the general Baltimore area. I feel like we're getting to a point where they're going to make it illegal almost to be supportive of Palestine. Because I'm old enough, I'm in my 30s now. I remember 9/11. I remember what happened to Muslims and Arab Americans here after 9/11. I remember this huge spike in hate crimes and very, very just intense anti-Muslim, anti-Arab rhetoric. And I'm so worried that that's going to happen again. I know it's going to happen again. I'm so worried for people. And what right do we have? Israel could not exist as a state without the billions of dollars of funding that they get from the U.S. every year. They have free health care funded by the U.S. The U.S. doesn't have free health care. Like, even today, right now, I could apply for citizenship in Israel and it would be granted. No questions asked, I could just move. And yet, my very, very best friend, whose entire family is Palestinian, he can never see the land his parents grew up in. Never. He can never go. And I understand a lot of these cultural sites are important to both religions, but I feel like that should be more of a factor in trying to solve the crisis than trying to play sides and try to decide who gets to have it, who deserves to have this place. Literally, cousins separated by centuries. This is not... It's so hard to do this without someone trying to tell me that I'm being anti-Semitic or that I'm just a Nazi, which is absolutely not true. But I don't understand how people can have so much vehement support for Israel. I think a lot of it is just because that's the more socially acceptable thing to do. The Palestinians, plain and simple, are the indigenous people of the region, and the world is so adamantly against indigenous people and people of color in general. If it was the other way around, if it was a brown population colonizing a white area, that place would have been leveled. The world wouldn't stand for it. But because the Israelis are all white, everyone in the world seems to be okay with it. Take a solid look. Like, if you're genuinely on the fence about this, if you've been fed all the propaganda about all this, take a really good look at the countries that are supporting Israel and the countries that are supporting Palestine. And if you believe the countries that are supporting Israel have never done a fucking thing wrong, you need your head checked. Because the countries that are supporting Palestine, like, for instance, Ireland, South Africa, places with really serious history of being oppressed. And then the places that are supporting Israel, the US, the UK, people who are literally, like, we're terrorists. If anyone's a terrorist, it's literally the US. We don't get what we want, bomb the place. It's not okay. And my heart genuinely bleeds for Palestinians, and especially knowing there's literally nothing I could do to help. Nothing. There's nothing I can do except come on here and say that I support them. And there's nothing else I can do, and I know that.